To quickly install Infisical on an EC2 instance, click the button here. This will bring you to AWS CloudFormation. Here you can specify the stack name and the database details that will be needed to provision a document DB cluster. You'll also need a key pair and a VPC ID. I currently don't have a key pair, so let's go ahead and create a key pair. To create a key pair, head over to EC2, then click Key Pairs. As you can see, I have no key pairs, so let's go ahead and create a key pair, and you will need to enter a name, give it any name. So I'll go ahead and give it Infisical. And you can leave the type as RSA, and for private key format, if you are on a Mac OS, I'd recommend a .pem file, or if you're on a Windows, you can download a .ppk file. And this is used to connect to your EC2 instance via PuTTY or your terminal if you're on a Mac. Then click Create Key Pair. As you can see, it downloaded the .pem file. You want to keep this somewhere safe, as this is the only time you'll have access to this. Now that we have a key pair created, let's go back to the CloudFormation. Let's begin by entering a password for document DB. This can be any password. It just has to be at least 8 characters long. And you'll also need a document DB username. This can also be any username. And we can now see that key pair that we created earlier. So go ahead and select that. And for VPC, you should have a default VPC even if you're on a new account. I'm going to go ahead and select the first one. Once you're done, click Create Stack. And as you can see, it will start to provision the new resources needed to have an up and running instance of Infisical. So let's give this about 5 to 10 minutes. Once all resources have been created, head over to the Outputs tab. Here you'll find the IP address of the instance of Infisical that was just deployed. So let's copy this and go to this address. It looks like our installation of Infisical has been successful. So now let's take a look at how we can upgrade to newer versions of Infisical and configure environment variables to change certain behaviors. To do this, let's head over to the AWS console and go to EC2. Then click Instances, and this is the instance of Infisical that we just saw up and running. So let's click on this instance, then click Connect, and let's connect via EC2 Instance Connect. We're now inside of the EC2 that is running the Infisical instance. So let's say we need to update Infisical to a different version than it is currently. What we need to do is go into the Infisical folder. Once we're here, we need to edit the Docker Compose file. And here, you'll need to specify the image tag. So for backend, we can just go over here and add a colon, and you'll need to add the tag here. So let's go and choose a tag from Docker Hub. Let's choose a tag from a few days ago. Let's paste in the tag for the backend, and let's use the same Docker image tag for the front end as well. Once we're done, we can press Control X and then yes to saving. Now to run the different version of Docker we specified in the Docker Compose, all we need to do is sudo docker compose up-d for detached mode. And we can see that it's recreating the containers. And that's all it takes to update your Infisical instance, whether you want to move up a version or go back to a previous version. Lastly, let's take a look at how to configure environment variables for this instance of Infisical. If you take a look at all the files in this folder by running lsa, you can see that there is a .env file. Let's take a look at what's in there. You'll notice that there are already environment variables, and these are set during deployment time. So we already see that we have Mongo URL. So this is the document DB cluster that we spun up, and this is the connection string to that. And we also see encryption key and a few other keys. If you want to integrate with third-party services such as GitHub, Netlify, or Vercel, or any other services, this is where you would add their client APIs. And if you need to configure other behaviors such as invite-only signups, and then this is also the file that you would add these configs to. Once you've made changes to this .env file, simply save your changes and run sudo docker compose up-d to run in detached mode. And that's all it takes to deploy and manage Infisical in an EC2 instance.